These times are strange, it's quite surreal. It's never been like this. Remembering the good old days when we could hug and kiss. We'd pack the gyms and restaurants and move through public settings. We'd give high fives and drink at dives, hold hands and dance at weddings. Now the days are longer, yet they're darker in a way. We're pressing pause on normalcy, just going day by day. But we can still make jokes and art, garden, dance and sing, cook, read books, try on fun looks and learn about new things. We can talk with friends of ours and have a heart to heart, just so long as we'll stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. It's the newest thing to do. Stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. The distance between me and you, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And when I say I'll keep you very close to my heart, it's purely metaphorical. These times are quite historical, so step aside, let's live our lives 6 feet apart.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to our annual holiday show. This one we've decided to call Holiday Hijinks. Wreck the halls with Yuletide Folly.
Once again, we've managed to convince a group of excellent storytellers to come along and tell stories, sing songs, and do other things to amuse Claire and I, and hopefully you as well.
So this is a completely free show, but if you're feeling a bit flush this year and want to drop a few dimes in our jar, then we'll put up our PayPal a bit later. But otherwise, sit back, get yourself a lovely glass of mulled wine, a mince pie, or whatever your favourite tipple is, wrap yourself in a snuggly blanket and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another edition. Oh, that's like I should probably do mine first.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
We're not starting with that.
No, we're not.
Welcome to another edition of the Bonkers Brit
And the Yuletide Yank. Today, we're going to bring you a little episode we like to call, What the Hell Are You Eating? Ooh, and to start with, I'm very excited because Claire, show them what we have. We're going to have some lovely biscuits or rolls. This must be like the British version of crescent rolls, which we always have at Thanksgiving. Ooh, tell us about it,
certainly
Claire.
not that. You're crazy.
What?
These are Yorkshire puddings. They're gorgeous. They've got a hole in the centre, perfectly baked, possibly a little bit overbaked, but that's okay. And you have these as a savoury dish. This is like a batter that's been baked.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. You call it pudding, right? Pudding. Now, let me just ask you, what do you call dessert? What do you have dinner? You have dinner and then you bring out something sweet.
Pudding.
What do you call that?
Pudding.
Pudding, right.
Mm.
And this is Yorkshire
This
pudding.
is Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, carry on then.
Okay. So yeah, Yorkshire puddings, and you have these with your roast beef most likely. And we have Yorkshire puddings, and you pour gravy into the centre. Originally in the olden days, they were made great big ones, and they make them with beef drippings, and all the kids would eat these first, and you'd fill up on the Yorkshire pudding and gravy. And so then, because they couldn't afford much meat, but these days we have them alongside the beef. And whenever you go to a pub or a carvery in England, they'll serve up Yorkshire puddings, sometimes great big massive ones. And now we're going to pour it and fill it with gravy. Ooh, love.
Ooh, okay.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of just takes what might be a delicious roll that perhaps I would put like jam and butter in the middle of, and just completely slathers it in gravy. So it's kind of like tasteless mashed potatoes. Thank you.
Well, that didn't go as well as I'd hoped.
Thanksgiving, he proposed. Christmas, he reneged.
Is that package supposed to drip?
It was coming on Christmas, and Sam asked his mom if he could have a new bike. She told him that he should write Santa Claus, but Sam, having just played a part in the school nativity play, said that he would prefer to write the baby Jesus. So his mom told him that would be fine. Sam went up to his room.
Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy and would like to have a bike for Christmas. Not right.
He tried again.
Dear Jesus, I'm a good boy most of the time and would like a new bike for Christmas. Still not right.
He tried again.
Dear Jesus, I could be a good boy if I tried real hard, and especially if I had a new bike. Nope.
Well, he decided to go out for a walk and clear his head. And after a while, he passed a house with a small statue of the Virgin Mary in the front yard. He got an idea. He crept in, grabbed the statue, and stuffed it under his coat. He hurried home and hid the statue under his bed.
Dear Jesus, if you want to see your mom again, you better send me a new bike.
Good King Wenceslas last looked out. That's wrong, isn't it? Voice. Good King Wenceslas. Good King Wenceslas. Good King Wenceslas.
Santa's elves forgot the batteries again.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 French hens. Fly.
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling birds. Caw-caw. 3 French hens. Fly.
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds. Caw-caw. 3 French hens. Fly.
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds. Caw-caw. 3 French hens. Fly.
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay all around, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came into sight, gathering winter fuel.
I'm the youngest of 5 kids. When I was 8 years old, my parents decided that because my brothers and sisters were either running away or being jailed at a very alarming rate, I needed an animal companion. Oh, but what kind, they asked. Well, that's a no-brainer. I've always loved dogs. So it was decided that I would get a dog. But what kind, my parents wondered. Well, I come from northern New York, which is one of the coldest parts of America. It snows from October to March, and the temperature is anywhere from 20 above to 20 below, not accounting for wind chill factor, off the St. Lawrence River. And so clearly, they were thinking of the same kind of dog that you're thinking of now. A Mexican hairless Chihuahua. Now, we were going to get my Mexican hairless Chihuahua from my Aunt Marguerite. Aunt Marguerite was married to Uncle Eddard. Oh, she was a tall, skinny, sour woman with sharpened claws and gray teeth. She was a beautician who sold dogs on the side. We got my little Mexican hairless Chihuahua one Tuesday evening, And oh, he was adorable. Caramel-colored, bugging-out eyes, big bat ears. I named him Cricket. Now, Cricket was perfect in every way, except one. He didn't like to go outside in the snow to do his business. So instead, he did his business on the floor behind the couch. Now, we called Cricket's business souvenirs, and we called the place behind the couch the souvenir shop. Well, on this Christmas, my brothers decided that they would play a trick on my mother. My mother always loved candy, especially chocolates. And so after one of Cricket's souvenirs had dried out appropriately, they picked it up and covered it with milk chocolate. Then they slipped it into a miniature O. Henry bar wrapper and put it into the candy pile that my mother just couldn't resist. It was Christmas morning, and my mother reached her hand out excitedly to eat one, to grab one of the miniature O. Henry bars. She unwrapped it carefully, and then, oh, I don't have to tell you what happened. But ever since that Christmas, we've never had any chocolates in the house. I guess my mother just lost her appetite. And that's miniature O. Henry bar Christmas. Happy holidays.
Well, do you have any alcohol? Anything would do. Why don't we just put it here, and it doesn't have to be.
Power out, Santa shouts, Rudolph shines.
Hither, page, and stand by me, if you know it telling. Yonder peasant, who is he? And where and what is his dwelling?
Sire, he lives a good league hence underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence by St. Agnes's fountain.
Bring me food and bring me wine and bring me pine logs hither. You and I will see him dine when we bear them thither. Page and monarch forth they went together, through the cold wind's wild lament and the bitter weather.
When I was growing up, my mom was in charge of the Christmas pageant at our church on Christmas Eve, where all the children of the parish would dress up and act out the story of the Nativity. I was in charge of wardrobe, and backstage I had a big box full of blankets and towels. These were for the shepherds. Boys would walk in, I'd throw a blanket over their head, it had a hole cut out so it would just fall and drape over them. I'd throw a towel around their head and tie it with a rope, and instant shepherd. Then I'd hand them a gardening stake, tell them it was their shepherd's crook, not a sword. There was no sword play at the first Christmas. And I warned them that there'd be a live baby in the manger up there during the church service, so no swinging around the shepherd's crooks. Now, it turned out mostly there were boys every year who were the shepherds. The girls all wanted to be angels, and so I'd send them over to someone else to give them their halo and wings. And that's the way it went year after year, until the year Gabriel showed up. Gabriel might have only been 9 years old, but he dressed better than anyone else, adult or kid, in that church. And he strutted in on Christmas Eve like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. And he looked at me, and he looked down at the towels and the blankets, and he looked back at me, and he's like, I'm Gabriel. I'm going to be the head angel. And he strode over to get a halo and a set of wings. Well, once he put them on, and he did look good in them, every boy who came through the door that evening before church, they made a beeline to get their own halo and their own set of wings because they wanted to look as good as Gabriel. And that was the first year that I had to dress a large group of disappointed young girls who had worn their finest Christmas frocks and dresses, thinking they'd be an angel, but we'd run out of halos and wings. So I gave them their shepherd's crook, and I tied a towel around their head, and that was the year our Christmas pageant had the most morose and disappointed group of shepherds. But I got to tell you, that year, our heavenly host of angels, they looked good.
Now, who stole the plastic Jesus?
'Twas the night before Christmas, with help from Clement Brown. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the home not a creature was stirring, not even an iPhone. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were grown, but still lived upstairs. I had visions they lived in homes that were theirs. And Ma in her sweatpants with her nightcap, and me with the gifts I was trying to wrap. When out on the lawn arose such a clatter, I sprung from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I tore in a flash. I opened the curtains and gave out a laugh. My little old neighbor's the kind of guy who every year goes out and buys every Christmas yard ornament, no matter how hateable or tactless or gaudy, so long as it's inflatable. He lights them and fills them till every square inch is covered with Frosty, Rudolph, and the Grinch. He hooks them to blowers. They hum and they hiss as each tasteless creature fills with air and lifts. A blizzard wind blew across the fresh fallen snow and tormented the yard ornaments below. When what? I says to my eyes. What sees us? Is that a inflatable helicopter piloted by St. Nicholas and baby Jesus? Then my little old neighbor, so lively and quick, was pulled into my yard by his wind-blown airship. More rapid than eagles, the blizzard winds came. He yelled and he cursed and he called out bad names. Now dang it, now darn it, dag nabbit, blitzing, I'm fixing to come on, stupid Richard, I'm Nixon. Like dry leaves for the wild hurricane fly, my little old neighbor was lifted up into the sky. Up over the roof, up over the wall, my little old neighbor flew over it all. And then in a twinkling, and I tell you the truth, I heard him crashing across my roof. I had just pulled in my head and turned around when he came down the chimney with a terrible bound. He was dressed all in robes from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all covered in ashes and soot. I figured the old boy must have broken his back, but he started to wheeze and to cough and to hack. He parted his lips. I saw his bare gums beneath, because in the tumult he'd lost his false teeth. And then laying a finger across his nose, he gave a nod and from the fireplace arose. He said not a word but went straight to work. He tore down our stockings and called me a jerk. From the chimney he pulled his deflated adornment and toward my front door went. That's my favorite rhyme in the whole thing. And I heard him say ere he left where I dwell, I hate Christmas ornaments, they can all go to... And Ma in her sweatpants with the cat in her lap considered it all and sipped her nightcap. And when my neighbor was no longer in sight, she said, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Sire, the night is darker now, and the wind it blows stronger. Fails my heart, I know not how. I can go on no longer. Mark my footsteps, my good page, and tread in them now boldly. You shall find the winter's rage freeze your blood less coldly. And in his master's steps he trod where the snow lay dinted. Heat was in the very sod, which the saint had printed. Therefore, to all, be sure, with the gifts you now possess, you who dost to bless the poor, shall you yourselves be blessed. The end.
I'm Rosie Rudolph, sweetie. I also have a shiny nose. And if you ever saw us together, you would know just why my nose glows. I used to have a plain brown nose till the day he kissed me twice. And then something magic happened to me. Now don't you think my nose is nice? Santa Claus is gonna marry us on this Christmas day. And all of the other reindeer, my friends, are gonna come and have a great day. And then we'll fly off to our honeymoon to a cottage by the sea. And then we'll settle in a reindeer barn and raise a red-nosed family. Da 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 da.
All right, so next up, On our culinary journey, we're going to have what I think is a traditional American dish, at least at our family's table, and that is the sweet potato casserole. Mmm, yummy. Claire can't wait to dig into this.
So is this what you call dessert?
No, this is served with, the turkey and the gravy and the mashed potatoes and the vegetables. It's on the table. Yeah, no, of course it's not dessert.
Okay, so I'm going to mix into... so it's quite spongy. So what is this white stuff on top? Is that potato?
Oh, no, it's marshmallow.
Marshmallow?
Yes.
On a savoury dish?
Yeah, well, it goes along with the savoury dishes.
Okay. Oh my God, that's dessert!
Oh, no.
Oh, that's
dessert.
so sweet! Oh my God, I'm going to get a diabetic into a sugar coma just eating this.
Are you mad? Well, it's delicious with a bite of turkey before and after. You have to chase it with something a little more savoury.
That's utterly revolting. I can't believe you would eat that with your savoury food. That is pudding.
This from the woman who serves a doughy, gravy-filled bowl and calls it pudding.
On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 swans a-swimming,
6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, caw-caw, 3 French hens,
2 turtle gloves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 maids a-milking, moo, 7 swans a-swimming,
6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, caw-caw, 3 French hens,
2 turtle gloves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 ladies dancing, cha!
8 maids a-milking, moo, 7 swans a-swimming,
6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, caw-caw, 3 French hens,
2 turtle gloves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Claire said, maybe wear a Christmas hat? I said, God forbid. What do I have against Christmas? What do I have against holidays? Well, something in me rises up. I think they're hypocritical. Comfort and joy indeed. Stuff, spending money, giving gifts. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what people want. I don't go shopping. I like stuff for free. So here I am, squashed against the wall. And what am I supposed to do at holiday time? Well, when the kids were little, I kind of had to try. It did not work very well. And then there were grandchildren. That was also uneasy. But then they were all out of the house. But then I got a job of my dreams. And at the library, we had to give each other presents. And it finally came to me. What is almost dearest to my heart? Words, as Mary Oliver said, words which are my food. And so for every year, for possibly 3 decades, I find some words. Often it's a poem, sometimes just a saying, and I print them out and I make a little feeble design around them. And then at Christmas time, I actually run them off on the Xerox machine and I put them in an envelope with a stamp. I send them out to people I've been in touch with for years, another kind of connection. And it's just amazing that we can still do this through the mail, and many of them put them on their refrigerators. So this year, I'm going to give you the opportunity to see what I send out, and you'll get the idea when I tell you what this very short poem is all about. This is the first, the wildest, and the wisest thing I know, that the soul exists and is entirely built out of attentiveness. And here is the actual poem itself.
Big presentation. Pants rip. Now, LinkedIn.
An argument. Mistletoe. Happily ever after.
So in the house where I grew up, it was clear that there was never a Santa Claus. Number one, my mom and daddy never mentioned there was a Santa Claus. So I never grew up with that concept, and they both worked hard. On Christmas time, they signed the gifts. We knew they were from mama and daddy. I had 3 older brothers and a sister, so you could imagine how shocked I was. One Christmas Eve when I was about maybe 4 years old, I'm in my room. There's 2 sets of bunk beds. I'm on the bottom of one of the sets. And it was just getting close to midnight. I was always a light sleeper. My brothers were like knocked out, sleeping hard, snoring. And I heard this boom, like up on the roof or something. And I poked the bottom of my brother's bunk bed. Did you hear that? My brother's like, shut up and go to sleep. And so I eventually dozed off, or was starting to doze off, and right before I was falling into a deep sleep, boom, I heard it again. And so I guess I'm gonna have to take care of this myself. So on my way to the family room, I grabbed this remember those wiffle ball bats, big giant, big fat plastic bat, and I'm going, and I see in my fireplace, there's this movement, there's this ash, this soot that is coming out of the fireplace towards me like this monstrous invasion, and I see this red, and it comes clearer and clearer that it's this red, velvety butt backing out of the fireplace towards me. And then it like stands up, turns around, and there's this white dude full of soot in this red velvety suit. Look at me, talking about, ho, ho, ho. And I'm like, ho, ho, no. With that wiffle ball bat, I'm about to knock him out. I'm like, my protective instincts then kicked in. And then he just like ignored me. He went down and smiling and humming and leaving gifts around the house. And then he says, ha, Merry Christmas, and stuck his finger up his nose, or maybe put it on his nose or something. He like twitched or flicked it, and then boom, he disappeared. Now that was the first and last time that I saw Santa Claus. But you better believe that I believe.
Wreck the halls with Yuletide Folly. The table is set. That looks quite jolly.
La 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 la.
Holiday guests are soon arriving.
La 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 la.
And wife, they've better driving.
La 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 la.
When I was younger, we were poor, legitimately poor. My mom was a single mom. She was trying to raise and feed 3 kids on a minimum wage job and food stamps. It was not easy for my mom. I mean, I was a kid. I didn't really care. Every now and then I had to deal with her crying and whining about how much things cost, but I was, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. All I cared about was whether or not I was taken care of. And that year that I was 11, that year that I was in 6th grade, the thing that everybody wanted was Cabbage Patch dolls. That's what everyone was asking for Christmas. So that's what I asked for Christmas. I wanted one. I mean, they were hideously ugly and they were super expensive. And I don't know why I wanted, I think I just wanted it because everyone else wanted it. But everyone else got one. that Christmas. And I know it wasn't every single person in America, but it felt like every single person in America got a Cabbage Patch doll that Christmas, except for me. And now I know, I understand, I realize that's because my mom couldn't afford it. She couldn't spend $1 billion on a stupid, ugly doll just because I wanted it. And probably she knew that that trend would be over soon and I would soon forget. But still, that January, when I went back to school, I felt like the only kid who hadn't gotten a Cabbage Patch doll, and everyone loved their Cabbage Patch dolls, so much so that they would bring them to school. So much so that the principal had to make a decree that no one was to bring their Cabbage Patch dolls to school. So much so that kids kept breaking the rules and bringing them anyway, to the point where the principal finally just threw up their hands and said, you know what? We're going to have one day. We're going to have one day at the end of the month where everyone can bring their Cabbage Patch doll. No time before and no time after, but on this day, it'll be Cabbage Patch Doll Day. Everyone bring your Cabbage Patch doll. Which was great. The kids loved it. Everyone was super excited except for me, because I didn't have a Cabbage Patch doll because I was poor. And so I begged my mom. I begged my mom for a Cabbage Patch doll, which she couldn't afford still because it was only a few weeks after Christmas. And then I begged my mom to not make me go to school because of the humiliation I would suffer by being the only kid without. Eventually, she relented. She let me take the day off of school. She took the day off of work. We stayed at home together. I got out of that embarrassment. And then the school year went on, and there were no more Cabbage Patch dolls, and I made it to summer, and my birthday is in the summer. And for my birthday, my mom, who must have scrimped and saved, presented me finally with my very own Cabbage Patch doll. I think I was polite enough to pretend that I liked it, to pretend that I wasn't disappointed, to pretend that I still wanted it, but it was like 6 months later. I was 12 now. No one was into Cabbage Patch dolls anymore. I certainly wasn't. So I played with it for a little while before I lost it on my bed, and then lost it somewhere under the bed, and then eventually that doll was forgotten. But my mom, taking that day off of work to stay home with me, to let me stay home, and then scrimping and saving and finally working up the money to give me a doll of my own, that I will never forget.
And now we have Christmas pudding. Now this is actually pudding. We have this after our roast turkey and everything. Normally it would have a sprig of holly. We then have pour brandy over it. But let me give you a little bit of history. Originally when people make these, they take ages. It's all made of dried fruit and suet and things like that. And it's taken a long time, and people put brandy in it, and probably started off in King Henry VIII's time, and there's probably one still going around being filled with brandy, not quite ready. But in our family, we really can't be doing with all that. And then people boil them for hours and hours, and we just buy ours from the internet or the local store, and we microwave them for 3 minutes. We would normally have a sprig of holly, put a bit of brandy and light it. Afraid we haven't got any of those ingredients today, so we're just going with the plain thing. Also, as some of you might remember from a previous show, we would sterilise some coins, not many coins left that are worth anything these days, and we put coins around it. We just push them into the side of it, and then you'd get a coin, if you were lucky, in your dinner, and that's the only way us kids would eat it.
So is there any chance I'm going to find some money in there today?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
Oh, crikey.
You're just going to have to eat it on faith. So this is what it looks like, and I'm just going to show you.
Can I just where's the Yorkshire pudding? Where's that at?
Here's the Yorkshire pudding.
There's the Yorkshire pudding. Okay, I just want to give you a visual here, folks, of pudding and Yorkshire pudding. Can you see the confusion from our side of the pond? All right, thank you, Claire, carry on.
She's not nice sometimes, is she? And then we have, no, I'm not finished yet. And then we have either brandy butter or brandy cream. We've got brandy cream. So eat away.
I think brandy's probably the best part of this. And look, you get a little teeny tiny spoon. So you only get a teeny tiny bite, which is a precursor and a little worrisome that they don't want you to have a big bite. And let me just give you the whole experience here. It's kind of like, I don't know, overly ripe fruit is what I'm getting, with notes of more overly ripe fruit. And a little brandy, of course. So let's have a bite of this. It's actually not that bad, I will have to say.
It's nice,
It's
isn't
a bit
it?
like a fruit cake for you Americans that's been soaked for centuries in brandy and then covered with some brandy butter sauce stuff. I'm not sure I would call this dessert. I might call it a fruit salad. Thanks, Claire.
Being of the Jewish persuasion, well, we sort of celebrated Christmas much more for Hanukkah. So how cool it is that I get to play Santa a number of times, especially getting paid once to work outside the Crane Plaza Mall in a little trailer just near Consumer's Distributor. And during the day, the kids would come in. My elf would bring them over to my lap. I'd sit them down. I'd ho-ho-ho them, ask them what they want, and I'd give them a candy cane, and they'd go on their way. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon on this Saturday, and no traffic. And all of a sudden, the door opens, and this little girl looks in, and she looks around, doesn't say anything. So I finally go, "Why don't you come and sit on Santa's knee?" She said, "Sorry, I can't, Santa. I'm Jewish." And I go, "Well then, have a happy Hanukkah." She goes, "Mommy, Santa's a Jew, Santa's a Jew." And in this case, he was.
Santa smiles. Mrs. winks. Late sleigh.
Oh no, she brought her fruitcake.
Someone brought a Christmas parrot, a living scarf. Who wants to wear it? La 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 la. Oh, ugly sweaters, bright and itchy. La 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 la. Baby drool on Uncle Richie. La 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 la.
Christmas was saved by hot chocolate.
Christmas means spritz cookies. I suspect you've had those buttery confections, the shortbread-like cookies that come in different shapes and colors with sprinkles. Every Christmas we'd gather in my mother's kitchen, my sisters and I, to help make those cookies. Now there's a whole kit involved in making these cookies. There's a hollow tube. There's all kinds of shapes that you can extrude through the end. You put it into a little cap at the end, and then you have a device, whether it's one that grinds or one that clicks, to push that dough through to make that shape. Now we got to choose the shapes that we wanted, whether it was a Christmas tree or stars or even a rope that you could then form into initials and decorate that way. Of course, given was the ribbon. Now, it was a rite of passage when it was your turn to have the chance to make a ribbon that was the length of the cookie sheet without a break. The cookies went into the oven. For a short period of time, you had to keep watch. And when they came out, we could put on the colors of the sprinkles we wanted. There's red and green, white, pink, multicolored, even those tiny silver balls that I think are outlawed these days. After that, we would cut the cookies into 3 or 4-inch segments and put them on a cut-up brown paper bag to cool. Then we could taste our wares, and it was always worth it. Well, my younger sister, has the original kit from our mother's kitchen, and she's taught her children and grandchildren to make those cookies, which they do every year. My husband and I have a kit as well, but I have to tell you, the cookies that are made in my sister's kitchen these days by my nieces, nephews, grandnieces, grandnephews, they really taste the best.
Turkeys burning in the kitchen.
Fa la 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 la.
Smoke alarm is loudly pitching.
Fa la 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 la.
Mall-wide spills on mom's new dress.
Fa la 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 la.
Just another holiday mess.
Fa la 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 la.
Eve, and Harry and Shirley went to the midnight mass at their local church and then went home to bed. In the early morning, they were woken by the sound of heavy knocking at their front door. Harry was very upset. He went downstairs, and upon opening the door was confronted by a drunken, disheveled man. "Excuse me, sir. Would you help me with a push?" "Help you with a push? You drunken idiot! Get away from me before I call the cops. Drunkards like you should be banned from driving." And he slammed the door in the man's face. Well, he went upstairs, and Harry explained to his wife what had happened. And she laid into him. "How could you be so uncharitable and just plain mean? I mean, didn't you hear tonight's sermon how that innkeeper turned Joseph and Mary away on Christmas Eve? You're no better than that uncaring man. Shame on you." Oh, Harry was full of remorse. He ran downstairs, opened the front door, but the man was no longer there. He leapt off the porch and ran to the front gate to see if the man or his car was along the road. But there was no one along the road. There were no cars anywhere. On the off chance the man might still be around somewhere, he shouted loudly, "Hey, mister! Where are you? Do you still need a push?" And then a voice from behind him on the front porch said, "I'm over here, sir. On the swing."
On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, cha!
8 maids a-milking, moo. 7 swans a-swimming,
6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, caw 3 French hens,
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 pipers piping,
10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, cha!
8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming,
6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, caw 3 French hens,
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping,
10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, cha!
8 maids a-milking, moo. 7 swans a-swimming,
6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, caw 3 French hens,
2 turtle gloves and a partridge in a pear tree.
So what's next? What's my pudding?
This is a very revered dessert that's served every Thanksgiving, sometimes at Christmas. We love it so much that we, for some reason, don't bring it out any other time of year other than Thanksgiving and Christmas, but still, really, we love it a lot. In fact, look, we wear hats. This is what you're having, Claire. A little pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin? But that's a vegetable.
Oh, no. It's a dessert. It's a dessert. Sweet potato casserole is a vegetable. This is a dessert.
I think you've got those mixed up. Somebody somewhere in the dawns of time thought they got the dessert mixed up with the vegetable, and forevermore you've just gone along with it. Okay, now I really don't like pumpkin. I don't really like Halloween very much. I don't like carving pumpkins, and I certainly don't like eating them. So I'm doing this just for you. And is this brandy cream?
Oh, sure. We'll call
it isn't,
it that.
is it?
No, it's
just,
not.
No.
It's just whipped cream.
Not even brandy to go along with it. Well,
it's not as awful
I
as you
was
thought.
expecting to really hate it.
Okay.
But it's way nicer than the sweet potato casserole, and it's nowhere near as sweet. You definitely got them muddled up. This should go with your Thanksgiving meal, and that should be the dessert.
You might be onto something there. You might be, but it's the only way we can get the kids to come to the table.
I was going to say it's marshmallow.
Buy them full of, tell them there's a dish that's covered with marshmallow, and we start
And
with
full
that.
of sugar.
Well, I think we've learned some very valuable lessons here today. One is that Yorkshire pudding is not dessert. And apparently, I guess sweet potato casserole should be dessert. But I will have to say, I would eat the Christmas pudding again. I would happily eat that again. I'm not sure about the Yorkshire pudding, but I would say yes on the thumbs up on the Christmas gravy. But can we agree that the pumpkin pie was doable?
It's not as bad as I thought.
All right, well,
I wouldn't
take
buy
that.
it. I wouldn't eat it, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, I have to say.
Well, there you go. There you go. All right, well, thanks very much for tuning in to this episode of
The Bonkers Brit
and the Yuletide Yank, and what we like to call, what the hell are we eating? Thanks, everybody, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Dinner served with frantic choices.
La 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 la.
Vegans crying, carnivores rejoicing.
La 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 la.
Chaos, noise, and laughter blending.
La 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 la.
All in all, a perfect ending.
La 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 la.
Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, belated happy Diwali, and happy everything else. Happy everyone.
That was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Thank you to all our amazing storytelling community for just stepping up and being so creative and funny, and we just loved it. Hope you did too.
So that's our show. That's our last show of the season, and you'll never hear the 12 Days of Christmas again without thinking of 2 turtle gloves. All right. So thank you so much for watching. We love having you as part of our village. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up next year, including the Stellar Slam in February and live shows as well. So happy holidays, everyone. And thanks for watching.
Happy holidays.
Christmas is coming. The geese are getting fat. Please put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. Hanukkah is coming, the latkes are getting cold. Please put some gelt in an old man's coat. If you haven't got some gelt, a little candle will do. If you haven't got a little candle, then God bless you. Santa Claus is coming. The reindeer are suiting up. Please put some carrots out in an unchipped teacup. If you haven't got some carrots, some M&Ms will do. If you haven't got some M&Ms, then God bless you. The relatives are coming. The house will be so full. Anytime we go somewhere, everyone wants to go.